Have you ever felt like the deeper you go into your healing, the fewer people you can actually talk to? Like the more you awaken, the lonelier it gets? Everyone always says, find your tribe, follow your path, raise your frequency. But nobody really talks about the part in between, that quiet, aching space where you're not who you used to be, but not yet who you're becoming either. So let's talk about that today. Hi everybody, welcome back to HPTV channel. I am Barbara, and if you are a rebel, a black sheep, a Heyoka or a Sigma empath, or maybe just someone who feels like they're outgrowing everything they once tolerated, then this video is going to be for you. On this channel, I talk about emotional clarity, authentic identity, human design, the gene keys, and what it really means to live a spiritually aligned life. Not the Instagram version where everything's picture perfect, but the real, the raw, the messy, the beautiful kind. So if that resonates with you, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's dive deep into this topic. Let's start by talking about something that we rarely say out loud. Spiritual awakening often begins with disconnection. Disconnection from the noise, from the systems, from the roles you once played, but also from the people who expected you to stay the same. And in that disconnection, something sacred begins. But at first, it doesn't feel sacred at all. It feels like loss. You start to see through dynamics that no longer serve you. You realize that you can't unfeel the things that you now feel. You can't go back to pretending, to performing, to over adapting. And that clarity is costly. You may lose relationships. You may stop relating to your job. You may walk away from communities that once felt safe. And not because you are better than them, but because you're no longer willing to abandon yourself. That's when the loneliness hits. Not because you're alone, but because you've stepped out of resonance with the world that you once knew. And if you are here, chances are that you've been told that you're too sensitive, too intense, too deep. But the truth is, you're not too much. You're just in between versions. You're also not broken. You're being rebuilt. In human design, this shows up when we begin living in alignment with our authority and our strategy. When we stop chasing what's not for us and begin waiting for what is. And that waiting, it can feel empty before it fills. In the gene keys, it is the path from shadow to gift. And the bridge between the two is often silence, solitude, reflection, contemplation. It is the quiet, uncomfortable cocoon before the wings emerge. So, why is this then harder for black sheep and sensitive souls? That is an excellent question. If you are a black sheep, a rebel, or a deep feeling soul, then you've likely lived most of your life trying to fit in, trying to please other people, trying to blend in, trying to make others comfortable with your existence. So when you finally stop doing that, when you start telling your truth, honoring your boundaries, and trusting your intuition, you might lose the people who were only ever there for the version of you that you portrayed, for the version of you with the mask that you were wearing. But that is not the real you. But still, this can feel devastating. Like, was it all fake? But maybe it wasn't fake. Maybe it was just based on a version of you that just no longer exists. You're not losing connection. You're clearing space for a deeper one. There is a sacred gift in the loneliness. And here's the part that no one tells you. Loneliness is not the enemy, it is the initiation. When you're no longer performing, you begin to meet yourself. When you stop overgiving, you begin to receive your own energy back. And when you drop the mask, your real voice can finally speak. In that stillness, something awakens. Your values crystallize. Your truth deepens. And you begin attracting people who meet you where you really are. Not for how easy you are to be around, not for how much you adapt, and not for how much you try to be just like everybody else, but for how much you embody. So, what can you do in the meantime? And what do you do when you feel alone? First, you need to ground in your truth. And this can look like journaling or walking or doing breathing exercises. All of this to feel what's really here. Second, resist the urge to shrink. Don't make yourself smaller to fit in or to please other people. Just because someone doesn't get you doesn't mean that you need to get smaller. No, 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 no. Third, seek resonance, not replacement. You don't need 1,000 people in your life. You just need a few aligned ones. And finally, give yourself permission to be in between. You don't have to rush the emergence. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's a recalibration, and it will pass. You are not broken. You've simply outgrown the world that you once tolerated. You're also not failing. You are becoming. And I know it's hard. I know from personal experience. I also know that it can be very quiet. I also know that it can be very tender or painful. But this space, this strange in-between wilderness, that is where the magic starts. So if this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What part of this journey are you in right now? And if you are looking for a community where you don't have to shrink or explain yourself, where only a few words will allow everybody else to completely understand your meaning, then you might want to consider joining the HSP Cafe in the Solutions community. The link to do that is below in the description of the video. But if you want to explore your unique energetic design and finally live in alignment, then you might want to join the Be You by Design Mastermind, which is a 3-month deep dive into your truth with personal guidance from me. The link to explore that option is also in the description below the video. But I can also imagine that you might want some personal guidance, so you can book a clarity and connection session with me to unpack your human design and your gene keys together. This will be a great start on your journey and will be incredibly valuable. Lastly, I want to tell you, you are not too much. You are not alone, and you're just walking a path that not everyone has the courage to take. And I'm so glad you're here. See you in the next video.